Alright, so we got another Cheats video today. Cheats is a great creator. We've watched a video or two of his in the past. Go check him out for sure. I'm going to drop a like just because I already know this video is going to be good. So, let's hop straight into it. By the way, trigger warning on this video because it may be triggering to certain people. Double standards nobody talks about. You've been warned. Let's get into it.
Double standards are probably one of the funniest things about society because two people can do the exact same thing and somehow get completely different reactions. So today I want to go through some of the funniest, maybe most egregious double standards that we either just accept or see all the time in society. And then I also want to see if these double standards should be accepted in society or if I think they should be changed. If you happen to be new here, please consider subscribing. My goal is 200,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think we can do it. I want to start off with something more lighthearted, and I think one of the funniest double standards that exemplifies this is how being rich can completely change the way that people interpret everything you do.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's been a thing forever now. If you're rich, you just get away with shit.
Like, if you're rich and you walk around every day wearing sweatpants and a plain white t-shirt, you're like low-key. You know, you don't care about material things because you have nothing to prove. But if you're broke and you wear the exact same outfit, you just look unemployed. And this kind of applies to everything. Like, a rich guy will drive a 2003 Toyota Corolla and everybody's like, wow, despite all the money, he lives such a simple life. But if you're broke driving the same car, nobody is admiring your humility. That's just the only car that you could afford. And rich people can also get away with being cheap in a way that nobody else can. So like, if a millionaire refuses to buy a new phone until...
Rich people always just find a way to stay in debt too, so they never have to like... They're always in the red, but they're not actually in the red. On paper, it looks like they are, but they are richer than everyone else around them.
His current one literally stops turning on. People are like, oh, that's why he's rich. He doesn't waste his money.
Yo, God damn it. Stop falling. Alright. Side note about iPhones, dude. I love my iPhone. I have a 15 Pro Max. I don't even know what iPhone we're on right now. But granted, I have a newer phone and it's doing me just fine. But for people that have older phones, like when the home button first got taken off the iPhone, I'm sorry, because Apple just decreases the quality of those phones just so they can sell more new stuff. And they already sell for, like, the profit margins of fucking Ferraris. So, I don't know, bro. I just feel like there's no reason to slow down the older phones. Just let people have their phones for real.
But if you have $36 in your bank account and you're still using an iPhone 8 with half the screen missing, nobody thinks you've discovered some secret financial strategy. A really funny example of this is like not owning anything. If you're broke and your apartment only has a mattress, a chair, and a TV, people walk in and then they know that you're like going through something or that you're just poor.
My girlfriend and I moved in together, and yeah, we have nice furniture and stuff like that, but a lot of the shit we just got off Facebook for free, bro. Like, people be moving away and just selling shit, or just giving stuff away, and we just painted it to match the apartment. Bang. And then it looks like you haven't... Like, decor is sometimes pricey, but you can find some good stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
But if a millionaire has a mansion with like one chair in the middle of a giant empty room, suddenly it's now minimalist, right? It's now this like intentional artistic...
Okay, also, if I walk into a millionaire's mansion and there's one chair in the middle of the room, I'm gonna say, you're fucking stupid. Why? Turn the room into something, bro. Why do you just have one cup chair by the fireplace? That's it? What? For what? No TVs, no nothing. Just a chair. Minimalist. Yeah. My ass.
Choice. I think the reason this double standard exists is because choice changes how we interpret behavior. When a rich person wears the cheap clothes or drives an old car, we know that they have access to better or more expensive things.
But it makes sense to me, I mentioned this in the last video, it makes sense to me why, like, super rich people drive very modest, like, base model cars. Because if you have a flashy car out in public, that is a sight for the eyes, and people will probably try to break into that shit. Or just put you into, like, an insurance scam where they just, like, let you run into the back of their car, and then you gotta pay them in insurance.
And they are deliberately choosing not to use them.
Bro. Sorry, I keep pausing. If you brake check people unintentionally for insurance money, fucking cornball. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we serious? Just headhunting people on the highway, slamming your brakes on just to get a little bit of extra schmoolah?
So we interpret that choice as humility or confidence or not caring about status. But when a poor person does the exact same thing, we can't necessarily.
Oh, this scene is from Weapons. If you guys have seen the movie Weapons, creepy as shit. It's a creepy movie. It's kind of a whack ending, but dude, creepy movie. Creepy as shit.
Attribute those qualities to them because their financial situation may have made the decision for them. It's reasonable to give the rich person additional credit for voluntarily rejecting status, but that doesn't mean the poor person should be discredited for wearing the exact same thing. You can assume the poor person is doing it out of necessity, but
yeah, also, if you're going to wear something like, I wear stuff like this. Look at my fit right now. Look at my fit right now. I got a plain, like, light green t-shirt and some black shorts on. That's it. That's all I wear, bro. I don't be wearing anything fancy unless I, like, go out to a nice dinner or go out with my girlfriend or something like that.
necessity doesn't make the clothes themselves any worse. The rich person's situation gives you an extra reason to view their choice positively. The poor person's situation shouldn't give you an extra reason to view them negatively. If you've ever wondered how people rack up thousands of dollars in travel rewards without a six-figure income, it's done with today's sponsor.
Yep. No, sorry, bro. We're gonna skip past that, but go work.
How we treat attractive people compared to unattractive people. This is basically one of the ways that pretty privilege shows itself. If an attractive person is quiet and keeps to themselves, they are mysterious and reserved. But if an unattractive person does the exact same thing, they're awkward and weird.
Yeah, bro, if you're also analyzing people's looks and just calling people ugly and not minding your own damn business, what are we doing? Oh, what are we doing? Why are we not just leaving them alone and mistreating them just because they could be less objectively attractive according to like a fucking black pill scale or something, bro? Nobody cares.
Attractive person is extremely confident, it's charming, but the same confidence from an unattractive person can suddenly come across as arrogance or lack of self-awareness.
No, I will slightly disagree with that because attractive people that have like confidence, in other words, arrogance, it's just the most annoying shit ever because they know they're attractive, right? And they portray themselves that way. They'll walk around with their heads held high in a cocky way, not in a confident way. It's like a way that you see him and you're like, God, look at that little shit. Thinks he's everything.
And this is one of those double standards that I think is almost completely unjustifiable because unlike the rich versus poor example, attractiveness...
I was waiting for it. Look at this. Is that Clav? That is Clav. Looks like he has makeup on, bro. Just get done from a shoot at Ulta.
Gives you no extra context that would actually justify interpreting the behavior differently. You're basically judging the same action through two different lenses just because you like looking at one person more than the other. Obviously, attraction itself is going to affect how much you want to be around somebody, and that's completely natural. But once you start assigning like unrelated personality traits to them because of their appearance, even if it's done unconsciously or subconsciously, that's where the double standard becomes completely unfair.
It's bullshit to just automatically assign a negative like trait to someone just because you think they're objectively ugly. And also, I do want to say that objectively ugly people can just fix their looks with like a few basic easy things like hairstyle, clothes, like fashion sense, and maybe like a skincare routine. Clean shaven face, I don't want to hear it. I'm growing it out right now. I know it kind of looks a little scruffy, but hey, we'll get there eventually.
And one of the negative consequences of this is that it can become almost self-fulfilling. If an attractive person is naturally awkward or socially inexperienced, people might be more patient with them, include them in conversations and laugh at their jokes, and just give them more opportunities to become comfortable socially. But if an unattractive person with those exact same traits gets excluded or judged more harshly, that just might make them more quiet and insecure over time. And then people look at the end result that they created, and they just assume that the attractive person was naturally more charismatic or likable, when part of that difference might have come from how people treated them in the first place.
Yeah, when people exclude others from like group chats or like talking and shit just because they're uglier than the rest of them, you are a cornball. Why? I have so many friends that look so much different, and some people would call some of them ugly, some people would call some of them attractive, and I hang around them because they're funny as shit. They make me laugh. They make me smile. They're good people to be around. It has nothing to do with how they look. If my best friend gained 100 pounds right now, I wouldn't care. And like changed his hairstyle and made himself look like not good, I wouldn't care. Because he's still funny as shit. I'm going to be a real friend and be real with him. Like, hey, bro, maybe the weights aren't such a bad idea. But it doesn't change the fact that that's still my close friend and I'm still friends with them just because of their physical appearance. I think personality, specifically in friendships, relationships is a little bit different, but personality specifically when it comes to friendships is the most important thing that matters. I don't care how attractive someone is when they're around me, right? If they're making me laugh and I'm like indulged in what they're saying, I'm listening to their conversations, we can go back and forth and have a good convo. I like them. Be my friend. Hell yeah. I don't care what you look like, bro.
And that's why I think this double standard should be completely erased. Like, obviously you can't control who you're attracted to, and nobody's obligated to find everybody equally attractive, but you can control whether you use somebody's appearance to judge things that have nothing to do with their appearance. Another double standard is how differently we treat people's excuses depending on whether or not they have an actual diagnosis attached to them. So,
oh my God. Tell me about it, bro. This doesn't really apply specifically to this, but I remember back in like middle school where people would just be like, yeah, I have anxiety, I have depression, and I'm really struggling with this shit. And I'm like, no, you're just fucking sad, dude. Someone will just get sad, right? They'll just be like, oh, I broke my favorite bowl at home this morning after I ate breakfast, and now I'm depressed. No, you're fucking not. You're upset about your bowl. There's a difference between depression and being upset with something. And you can be depressed for a little bit and not be diagnosed with actual depression that stays with you, but it's not always depression, okay? I can understand with like family deaths and everything like that. You can be depressed for like a month or however amount of time. Like that, yes, that would count as depression because it's like there's just a main difference between depression and being sad about something. And people like in middle school and early high school would be like, yeah, I have depression, I have autism, I have anxiety, I have ADHD. They got everything in the fucking books. No, you don't. No, you don't, right? Shut the fuck up, dude. Stop saying that shit. It makes me so mad because I hung around with so many people that had like, what do you call it? Mutual friends. I hung around a bunch of people that had mutual friends that would come up and they'd be like, oh, sorry, it's my ADHD. You don't fucking have ADHD, dude. All right? Just shut up. I can't. And if you're undiagnosed and you think you have a condition or a mental illness or something along those lines, go get it diagnosed. Don't just guess. All right? Don't just self-diagnose yourself with these conditions that real people deal with on a daily basis and act like you have them to get attention. It makes me so... Go get a diagnosis. If you feel off, if you don't feel correct, if you're... Like, if something's going on up here, go get it diagnosed. Go talk to someone. Go to a doctor, you know?
like, imagine there's two people struggling to get their work done. One person says, I have ADHD, so it's really hard for me to focus. Most people would probably
What I'm saying.
be pretty understanding of that. But another person says, I have a lot going on in my life right now, and I genuinely can't focus.
Xbox, record that.
Well, now all of a sudden it's everybody has problems, man. You still gotta get your work done. And look, obviously ADHD is a real condition that can directly affect your ability to focus, so I'm not saying we shouldn't accommodate that person. I just think it's strange that we can be so understanding of one person's inability to focus while also assuming that another...
I will say this. Right, I have been around a lot of people and spent time in classrooms around a lot of my friends, and I've been told very often that I have ADHD. I've never been diagnosed with it, and guess what I also don't do? I don't use it as a fucking excuse.
Other person is just making excuses. Having an official name for what's causing your problem can give people more useful context, but it does not mean that your problem is more severe than somebody else's.
Yup, very well said. Very well said. Just because you have a diagnosed name for your problem does not make it worse than other people. Other people may have just not gotten a diagnosis, right? And they're just dealing with it. Maybe they haven't talked to anybody. They're just dealing with it in silence. Just because you have slight ADHD, slight anxiety, does not, like low level anxiety, does not mean that other people are not struggling, right? I used a double negative. I hope you're still sticking with me there. Just because your condition has a name does not make you more, you're not a priority above other people just because of that. Other people are still going through serious issues that may be worse than yours. So just don't act narcissistic because you have a condition. Whoa. Why did I mute that? What the fuck? What am I doing? Bro, what is going on here? Hold on. Run that back. Sorry, I'm tweaking.
That your problem is more severe than somebody else's. The person without ADHD could be dealing with a breakup or a death in their family or financial problems, maybe bad sleep, a million other things that could make focusing just as difficult for them at that moment. I think the standard should be that we judge how much somebody is actually struggling and what can be reasonably expected from them.
Yes. I agree. I've gone through, I mean, I'm only 21, but I've gone through many different experiences. I've gone through many different emotions. I've been sad for long periods of time. I've been happy for long periods of time. I'll sit down to do a homework assignment and won't finish it for 4 hours because I end up doing eight other things in between, right? Never once have I been like, oh yeah, this ADHD is really making me out. No, I'm still expected to get the work done. If I'm really having that much of an issue with it, I'll go get a diagnosis with it, you know? I just don't use it as an excuse. If I'm struggling, if I'm having like very sad thoughts, if I'm going through a really low point, I'll sit down and talk to someone that I trust about my feelings and what's going through my head, my emotions, my thoughts. And then I will deal with it when I go to school or have to do homework or go to work or something like that. You can't just use it as an excuse to get out of things.
Rather than treating a diagnosis like it's the thing that determines whether their struggle is legitimate. Okay, this next one does not get talked about enough because I think a lot of people think it's like a reasonable double standard, but I still think that it's flawed in a lot of ways. This is how risk is treated. So if you take a massive risk and succeed, you're like this bold, ambitious person who's willing to do what nobody else was willing to do. But if a different person takes a very similar risk and they fail, well, now they're like reckless and they're irresponsible and they should have known better. But the outcome does not necessarily tell you whether the person who took the risk was intelligent. You can make a terrible decision and get lucky, or a completely reasonable gamble and get very unlucky. That's where the double standard just becomes completely unfair.
Oh, that's a good pull. I like that. That's a really good pull. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think you need to take risks in life to keep your life interesting, to enjoy life, to put it broadly. I think risks turn you into a more intelligent person. I think risks can build your confidence and the belief in yourself. And I'm trying to take a risk and commit completely to social media. And again, it still sounds corny because we're not even close to there. And I decided to take that risk because I'm doing it for my own good. I want to do this. And so I took the risk. Honestly, it boils down to fuck what other people say. It doesn't matter. Take your risk. It doesn't matter what other people tell you to do. Don't take stupid risks though, because there are dumb risks, right? Don't like dump your entire life savings into a meme coin. That's a fucking dumb risk. But I'm talking about risks that will better your life if they go through, and if they don't go through, oh well, you get back up and try again.
Success should not automatically prove that a risk was smart, and failure should not automatically prove that a risk was stupid. The better standard would be judging the risk based on what the person knew at the time, how likely it was to work, and what they stood to gain or lose, and whether they could actually afford for it to go wrong. I think part of the reason we do this is because once we know the outcome,
I like his criteria for judgment here. It makes a lot of sense. It's logical.
Becomes incredibly hard to imagine the decision without knowing it. So like if someone drops out of college and builds $1 billion company, dropping out feels like it was obviously the right move because we can't separate that decision from everything that came afterward. But there was a point where he was just some dude dropping out of college with no guarantee that anything would happen. So we pretty much like rewrite this story.
Everybody is, no matter the success rate or the outcome of the risk, everybody is still in the same spot at the beginning of the risk. If two people drop out of college, one person goes nowhere and ends up working a 9 to 5 at McDonald's, and one person builds a $1 billion clothing or $1 million clothing brand, you were still in the same spot at the beginning of the risk. And again, you have to assess whether you can afford to take this risk. Dropping out of college is a pretty big risk because degrees open up a lot of pathways. But I don't think college is for everybody.
Afterward, and we turn the uncertainty into inevitability. This person becomes a visionary who knew it would work, and the unsuccessful people who did the same fucking thing, you know, they somehow should have known that it wouldn't have worked out, even though neither of them really knew what was gonna happen. Alright, the last double standard that I want to mention is how being selfish can become completely acceptable if you just call it setting boundaries. So if someone doesn't want to help their friend with something because they just can't be bothered, like they can't be fucking asked for it, that just sounds selfish because it is. But if you just say that you're protecting your peace, this just now is just something like your therapist would say, and it sounds like, oh, it's a healthy thing, it's a good thing.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that, but there is a distinct line between setting boundaries and being a selfish prick. You can still be willing to help people while having boundaries. I don't know. I don't know. Let's hear him elaborate on this a little more.
We've just gotten to the point where people use the language of boundary setting to just make any selfish decision immune to criticism. If you cancel plans all the time at the last minute, or you refuse to ever inconvenience yourself for somebody else, where's the regard for other people's mental health? Like, you know, you invoke all these therapy speak.
Yeah, that's not setting a boundary. That's just being a selfish dickhead. If you're not gonna go inconvenience yourself and like, oh, maybe skip out on some plans that you made or something to go help someone and like better someone else, then you're just being selfish. But if you were to say, oh, it's for my own healthy or my own mental health, I'm going out with my friends for my own mental health, I need this happiness. Okay, yeah, that's fine. No, you're just being a selfish dick. Like, there's a line between it, and it's very circumstantial. It's not like definite one answer for every single situation and scenario. It's like if someone asked you, hey, let's go out to the bars, and you have to like, you're planning on doing something like to, I don't know, let's say you're working on a project for yourself and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna stick home, I'm gonna spend this night and just relax my mind and just enjoy my project that I'm working on. That's not selfish. That is literally just, hey, I can't go, I don't want to go out tonight. But if you skip out on your friends trying to hang out with you all the time and you're just saying, yeah, dude, it's just because I'm better when I'm alone, you know. Hey, can we talk real quick? I'm really struggling. No, dude, I can't. I'm struggling. I need to calm my mental state first. No, you're just a dick. There's a line.
Terms to make it sound like you're actually making a good decision, but you're kind of just being a selfish asshole. So yeah, the double standard here is like, one thing can be considered selfish by everybody, but then the exact same thing might seem more reasonable if the person doing it uses therapy speak. The silver lining here though is that most people can see through that bullshit. Like, if you're using a bunch of therapy speak, people just see the outcome at the end of it, and they can usually tell that you're being kind of a prick. So yeah, that's about it for this video. If you guys want to see a part 2 to this, let me know down in the comments.
Interesting video. Double standards nobody talks about. The thumbnail fooled me. The thumbnail really fooled me because the thumbnail is two overweight people. I'm not even going to try to get into that. I'm just going to leave that with y'all. But that's going to be it from me today. W Cheats video. Go sub to Cheats. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what I should do. Alright? Good to see y'all again. Have a great rest of your night, day, whenever you may be watching this, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.